You guess what our next mod is? That's right, chucking some driving lights onto the MUX. You might recognise these are actually on the ute for a little bit. I kept them when I sold them, some nice Narva HIDs. And I'm going to chuck, I've got to wire them up, I'm just chucking in an XTM universal wiring harness. It's not going to make the DRLs, daytime running lights, work, but this is just a quick fix. We're going to do a quick trip literally tomorrow and come back a bit late tomorrow night. So I'm going to chuck the harness in and hopefully that'll be enough to get us going for now. Got the harness kind of laying down, so we're going to go through the main one over here. So this is the main harness. We've got our battery connections over here, inline fuse. Going to go over, we've got our 12 volt relay, then this wire this side, this, kick that over, that one's going to go to a little plug that plugs into our high beam. It's all plug and play this, which is great. And then we've got this one that comes over here. This is actually that goes to the actual lights itself. It's got a couple of options. I'll show you in a sec of how to wire the lights up. And then the last cord is for our switch. Let's zoom in. Don't mind my lovely Lego rag. We've got our switch. So I've got to work out where in the car I'm going to put that. So our wiring harnesses, we've got one, which is our, starts off one plug, goes to dual plugs. And then over here, I've got two of these, which are, plugs into where it splits into the two, and got bare wires at the end. These are our two high beam plug and play. So one is for the H4, one's for the HB3, I think it is, or H11. Which I think it's this one here we got to use for the H11 for the MUX. Eventually I'm going to wire in the back of the lights. If we come over here quickly, you can see we've just got wires hanging there. So I'm hopefully gonna wire these, cut these a bit shorter, wire them straight in, plug straight into there, and keep it nice and simple. So I'm doing the wiring, and the big thing with the MUX is the battery's over on the passenger side, and we're gonna get the wiring on the driver's side. I was freaking out that the cord wasn't going to be wiring length, wasn't going to be long enough. It has worked out perfectly. I am really happy with the length, for at least for the switch for inside the cabin. And one of the little bits in the MUX, I thought they were going to have a weird size. The switch doesn't quite click in, but it holds firm in there. So I'm going to have a nice switch in there. So we'll show you under the bonnet. So I've got the battery over there, and you can see this wiring harness here. It's following along with an already previous one there, sneaking down. I don't know if you can just see that little hole down the corner down there. Let's see if I can point there. Just there is where it's sneaking through. Now if we spin around here, you can see this is where my plug's going to go. That's my switch. Pretty basic for now. And I'm just going to get up underneath, and somewhere, if you can see up around there, I'm going to find out where these plugs come through. Alright, it's pretty easy to find the plugs. I've run them, you can see they're sticking out now, and I just ran it up around top of the fuse box. You can't quite see there, but you can kind of see it moving there. And this lets you just a little bit of fiddling to get the right angle. It's like that. So, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it works, and it's not going to rattle out. Alright, let's see how well I can do this one-handed. But down here, I've pulled out the high beam plug, and so I'm just going to plug this into the high beam, which looks like it's going to try and do my best to show you guys how to do this. It's really not easy with one hand, I'll say that much. Let's see if I can get you. Alright, couldn't quite do it with one hand, but that plugs in. This end plugs into my light, and then these two plug in. Now you might notice that you might think it's a bit weird that I've gone all the way over to the passenger side. This cord is pretty long for the high beam, and I kind of figured it's long enough to reach the other side. That side's already full of a lot of wires, and now I want to keep it cleaner, so I'm going to bring it over this side where I can attach it and fiddle with it a little bit more interplay. Alright, coming from patrol, I'm used to grills being like little cleats being a pain in the bum, and this whole front grill was getting in the way to try and run wiring. And then I had a look at these. Watch how easy this is to pop open. Just going to pop, left, and she's out. And just as you get back, man, I gotta admit, I kind of prefer that over patrol. Like, the one thing I'm not happy about is there's so much wiring over on these battery terminals. I've only ever put these lights on so far, so I have to fix that. You can see that's not mounted in there. You can see that there's a lot of excess wiring, and if you look up here, you can see another big bunch up there. So that's supposed to show you the one thing I would change. I'll come back and do this later, get some new plugs and shorten the wiring. And there's a lot of extra plugs that I don't think are really needed. I want to do some hard soldering on it. But to get you up and going, it's a pretty good plug and play kit. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I used the 2 wires that had the bare ends for the lights. I cut them a heap shorter and plugged them into the splitter that then plugged into the big long wiring main harness. So you could most probably separate it a little bit. I feel like there's a lot of plugs. I could lessen the plugs, but it works. That's the main thing. Yeah, I suppose we'll find out tomorrow night how well they work. Thanks.